Okay, so in the last lecture, we have learned about data binding. Okay, in that we have just seen one way by data binding. In that also we have covered about string interpolation, which we have already covered. But last lecture we have learned about the property binding and style and class binding. Okay, uh, today there was one just small topic was remaining in the property binding. Okay, which is nothing but attribute type of binding. Okay, so attribute type of binding means what? Like I have an element, okay, and whose attribute is basically not available. Okay, let me just start the application first. Its attribute is basically not available in JavaScript as a property. Okay, so when I say table, okay, let's say one attribute table. Inside table, you have a like T head and T body, okay, and in that you have a TR tag, okay, there is a TH tag, okay, for header section, okay, and let's say you have let's say three uh, rows, okay, or let's say two rows, three rows, sorry, three rows, and in T body also you have three rows. This is PD and one, two, three, H1, H2. Okay. So if you run this, you will see a simple table. Local,
Yeah,
okay. This is a simple table here. Okay, but these are like uh,
line number 33 and 43.
33 and 43. Okay, okay, T body. Got it. Okay. But these are rows, right? And we have only uh, three rows. Okay, let's say three columns we have it. Okay. Let's just consider only rows here. Two rows for now. We have written it around E and H2, H3. Okay, so we have these three rows. If you add a border here, okay, border equals one. Okay, style, style. Mm. Okay, since we are using Bootstrap, okay, so I think is we need to use class as table. Otherwise, it will not have table and table border. Okay. So you can see, I just comment this part. Okay, now the table is properly visible. Okay, H1, H2, H3, and 1 and 2 and 3. So we have like three columns, okay, and two rows. Okay, now let's say I want to merge these two columns, okay, and make one column. Okay, so H2 and H3 will be a single column, and 1, 2, 3 will be three columns. So what will I do? Okay, what will I do? Anyone? I just want to merge columns, right? Don't know? Yes. Anyone? Don't know how to merge the columns, so call span, correct. You can use call span. Okay, so I'll just inspect it here and I'll show you. So I have to merge this column, two columns, right? So here I will say call span equals to 2. Okay, and this column I will remove. So now you can see this entire th, okay, it is taking entire column. Okay, and then this body has three columns, td, 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 three columns are there, but this entire this th second h2 is taking the entire column. Okay, so we can use call span to take entire column. Okay, but if you use it as a property binding, okay, let's say I'm using it here, call span equals 2. Okay, I'll use a class. I guess there is a class called a text center, which will keep it in the center. Okay. So now you can see the entire head is in a center as well. You can keep this class for this table as well. So all will be in center. Okay. You can see all of them are in center. Okay. Now, if I want to uh, do this using property binding, okay, like this call span as a property binding. Okay. This is not allowed. Okay. Because in JavaScript, for a th tag or tr tag, we don't have a call span property. Okay, JavaScript itself, we don't have this property. Okay, you can check it out in the browser's documentation or JavaScript documentation. There is no property called as call span for any like th or td. Okay, you are going to get an error, can't bind to call span since it is a known property of th. Okay, so how can we bind it then? Okay, let's say we want to make use this as a dynamic value. This two variable, I want to use it as dynamic. Okay, if it is static, then I can simply say call span equals to 2, and that works. Okay, but in case of dynamic value, we cannot do like this. Okay, so let's see, there are like various attributes of HTML which are not available in JavaScript as a property. Okay, you can say like data attributes. Okay, then the aria label attributes. Okay, these are the attributes which are like dynamic. Okay, and they are not available in JavaScript as a property. Okay, so for this purpose, you can use attr dot. Okay, so attr dot means what? This call span will be considered as a attribute property binding. Okay, attribute type of binding. Okay, so where the call span will be considered as a HTML attribute, and here then you can add a dynamic variable. Okay, so if you have a variable here, let's say calls columns. Okay, and then you can add columns, and columns will have a two value that will be applied here. Now you can see the call span has been added. Okay, so in case if you want to add any attribute as a property, okay, for any element, then you can use call span. Okay, here also when you use get bootstrap, right, we use bootstrap. So in the bootstrap, so in the documentation, you may find that uh, some of the elements has some attribute properties. Okay, so if I say, let's say there is an image tag or card. We have used card, right, last time. So it doesn't have property attribute. Some of them may have like attributes like nav bar. I guess nav bar was having attributes, right? So let's see that nav. In the nav bar, you can see this database toggle. Okay, and then aria current. Okay, this is not a like a attribute in HTML. Okay, this is attribute basically provided by Bootstrap. Okay, data BS toggle. This is also an attribute BS toggle. It's attribute provided by Bootstrap itself. Okay, so that's the reason it doesn't exist in your JavaScript. Okay, and you cannot use it as a property binding. Okay, so in that case, you can add it as an attribute type of binding. So if you have a area current here. Okay, so if you wrap it inside square bracket and put this in a single quote so that it will be a string, so this won't work. You'll have to write attr dot. Okay, then this will be added as a area current attribute. So you can see that here. UL you can see aria current page. Okay, so this has been, so that's how you can add any type of attribute, okay, which is not available in HTML or in JavaScript. Okay, so that can be added using attr. Understood, everyone? This attr attribute type of binding, you can say.
So can we do this once again? We lost the connection and
Yeah,
missed the
and I got
content.
confused.
Okay, okay. So actually, see, we have some attributes in HTML, or maybe those attributes are not available in HTML. Okay. So when we say this aria label like aria current, okay, this is the attribute which is provided by Bootstrap itself. HTML doesn't have this. Okay. In HTML's documentation, aria current is not an attribute. Okay. Aria labels we can add it, but aria hyphen current is not an attribute. So this attribute, if it is not an attribute of HTML, then it doesn't exist in your JavaScript property as well. Okay. So when we say property, so all the properties should exist in JavaScript. So this src alt, okay, even the style dot height, okay, this is basically we can say style is a property, and inside that we can add height dot height karke, and then we can add equals to 100 pixel. So this is like this way we can specify in JavaScript as well. So whatever JavaScript properties are available, we can directly put them inside a square bracket. But when we use this type of properties which are not available in JavaScript, okay, so they will not be treated as a property. Okay, they will not be treated as a property. Then in that case, you have to make this as an attribute. Okay, and since it's an attribute, so you have to prefix it with attr dot. Okay, so what Angular will do is Angular will consider this as an HTML attribute. Okay, and in that case, you can add dynamic values here. Okay, so all the dynamic values will be picked up, but in that case, it will act as a property binding. Okay, but only when you add attr dot. Understood? So this
But
is
in the last lecture, we did not use ATTR while
correct.
specifying the properties.
Yeah, because those properties. Okay, see, I told you those properties are basically available in JavaScript. Okay. See, src attribute for img tag, we have src attribute. You can check it in the documentation itself. JavaScript, uh, img, src. Okay. If you want to change src property of img tag, okay, you can use document.get element by id, image tag, and dot src. So when I say src is a property of img tag, that means it's a img is an object, and inside that we have a src property. Okay. So this aria current, this is not available. Okay, this is not a default HTML attribute. So it cannot exist in JavaScript property, right? So that's the reason we cannot specify it as a directly as a property binding. So in that case, you have to write attr dot here. Okay, understood?
And from where does this ATTR is coming?
This is
Do we have to
Angular. It is
specify?
provided by Angular. This is provided by Angular.
So don't we have to specify like a source of ATTR or something like that? And it is coming from the Bootstrap or some other
It
document.
is coming from Bootstrap, right? So Angular doesn't know that this is a property, because there is, see, when I say aria hyphen current, right? This property doesn't exist in JavaScript, so Angular doesn't know how to treat it as a property. Okay, so to make it as a property, we add at attr dot. Okay, then what Angular will do? Angular will consider this aria hyphen current as an attribute of this anchor tag. Okay, and then it will add or make it as a property binding type of thing. Okay, where you can just
Okay.
bind the data to this. Understood?
Okay, sir.
uh, Still not understood, or like because
ट्राई
I
करके
think,
समझ जाएगा I guess.
हाँ, सी कैसे मालूम है कि सी जावास्क्रिप्ट में कैसे होता है कि अभी आप जो भी क्लास एचटीएमएल में एट्रीब्यूट्स लिखते हो, राइट, ये क्लास एट्रीब्यूट बोलो या एचरेफ एंकर का एचरेफ एट्रीब्यूट, ये सारे एट्रीब्यूट्स आपके जावास्क्रिप्ट में एज अ प्रॉपर्टी अवेलेबल होते हैं, राइट? सो इफ ये जैसे अभी मैंने थोड़ी देर पहले वो आईएमजी टैग का दिखा
Right.
था, आई गेस आप लोगों ने जावास्क्रिप्ट ज्यादा यूज नहीं किया, इसीलिए आपको ये पता नहीं होगा. ओके, जावास्क्रिप्ट में डॉम होता है, डॉक्यूमेंट ऑब्जेक्ट मॉडल. डॉक्यूमेंट ऑब्जेक्ट मॉडल में एवरी एलिमेंट, Okay, every element, मतलब जो img tag बोलो, div tag बोलो, okay, all of these div tags are considered as an object in JavaScript. Okay, and those objects will have properties. Now वो properties जो होते हैं वो properties actually वो tag के attributes होते हैं. Okay, so when I use those properties, okay, in JavaScript, so Angular को पता रहता है कि जो JavaScript को property है उनको मैं treat कर सकता हूँ, but जो JavaScript में properties नहीं है उनको वो ट्रीट नहीं कर पाता. देन इन दैट केस वी हैव टू यूज attr डॉट. ओके, सो वो क्या होगा फिर, दिस विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज अ एक्स्ट्रा एट्रीब्यूट फॉर दैट HTML टैग. ओके, और फिर उसको एज अ डेटा बाइंड कर देगा कोड इसके लिए. ओके, सो हम लोग को अगर डेटा बाइंडिंग करना है जो एट्रीब्यूट्स एक्चुअली अवेलेबल नहीं होते उनके लिए यू कैन यूज attr डॉट. ओके, हम लोग अभी कोई भी एट्रीब्यूट डाल
Okay,
सकते हैं
sir.
ना. मैं यहाँ पे आर्यकरण डाल दूं, मैं कल जाके यहाँ पे एक्स वाई जेड इक्वल्स टू एक्स वाई जेड इक्वल्स टू समथिंग, लाइक ऐसे कुछ तो डाल दूंगा, ये चल जाता है आपके जावास्क्रिप्ट में. ये ऐड हो जाएगा वहाँ पे. यहाँ पे क्या मैंने कहाँ पे ऐड किया हो, हाँ यहाँ पे नया बार में ना, ये देखो एक्स वाई ए इक्वल्स टू, ये ऐड हो गया. ओके, तो कुछ भी डालो HTML में वो चल जाता है. HTML doesn't give you any error, right? So in that case, agar you want to treat these as an attribute, okay, and you want to add dynamic values, you can wrap it inside square bracket and put attr dot here. Then, and you obviously string it, so you have to write it in a single quote. Then what Angular will do is Angular will treat this as an attribute, okay, this attribute, and then the value we write it here can be we can make it dynamic. That means we are basically
Hmm.
binding the data to that particular attribute.
So we can target XYA from JavaScript and change it, sir, right? That's what
Yeah, you can
it means.
create a variable here. Okay,
Hmm.
let's say var equals to 10. Okay, and then you can use this var variable here. Okay, uh, अच्छा, var, let's say a. अच्छा, sorry, var is a keyword. I forgot val. Okay, so if I use val here, then the value of val will be printed here, a. If I use 10, then 10 will be printed. See, so we can basically, what we are doing right now is nothing but binding a data to that attribute. Correct. So this is also data binding.
Do we have a specific name for this kind of a binding?
Uh, I couldn't get your answer. Do you have?
Like, do we have a name for this kind of a binding where we create attributes of
This is like you can say attribute type of binding, where we are binding an attribute of an HTML attribute to a particular data.
okay.
Okay. I think now it's clear, right?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. That's how you can do attribute type of binding. If you don't have a attribute for that particular element, okay, or the you don't have a property for that particular element in JavaScript. Okay, so write it down. No, I'll just remove this one. Even this call span, okay, this call span, although we use it in HTML as in a table tags, but this call span as an property is not available in JavaScript. Okay, so that's the reason we have to add it as a attribute binding. Okay, you can check it in like Java script table call span. See, uh, is a documentation. Uh, MDN, you can check it in the MDN, documentation. कॉल स्पैन दिस नॉन नेगेटिव इंटीजर इंटीग्रेशन यहाँ पे लिखा नहीं है. These are the attributes of that particular element. But in JavaScript, if you check, right, you can Google it later on. Okay, you can check, like in JavaScript, we don't have a call span property. Okay, for any other attribute. That's why we have to write it inside attr dot. Okay. Okay. So I'll just remove this. Just wanted to show it for the demonstration purpose, but you can use it in a app component. Okay, here. If you want to try it out, you can try it out here. Okay, just make sure that your page variable page is a value, so it is wrapped inside single quotes. Okay, or if you're using double quotes, then it should be wrapped inside double quotes. Okay, because this will be considered a JavaScript expression, then page will be considered as variable if you don't wrap it inside a single quote. It's done.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. So ATTR is basically JavaScript. Uh, JavaScript. What to say?
Um,
Attribute or nahi?
no, it's not a
Functionality.
JavaScript attribute. It's just like for Angular. If you want to treat it as a attribute, then we can. I think it must be available. I'm not sure. I haven't checked this out.
Is exclusive to Angular.
It's it should be ATTR interface.
Yeah, actually, it is given on the Angular
Angular
official site.
itself, yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes,
only available in Angular. It's not available in Java.
yes. On.
I was just checking whether it is available in JavaScript or not, but it's not.
Okay.
It is only available in Angular. Okay.
Okay.
So to apply the binding for the attributes, okay, which are not available as a property in JavaScript, in that case, you can use this ATTR dot for that particular attribute.
Mhm.
Okay. Now
Okay.
let's move on to the next type of binding. Okay. So this is the data. Okay. The property in the property binding which we have seen. So here basically data is flowing from your TypeScript file or JavaScript file to your HTML file, right? Because we are creating variables here and then we are using them here as a property. Now, what if I want to send data from your HTML to JavaScript or TypeScript? How can we send it? Anyone? Without Angular
Get
also, if I want to send a data from HTML to JavaScript, how can I send
get
it?
element dot html, something like that.
That get element by HTML, if you do it, okay, and if you assign a value, then basically you are doing passing a data from JavaScript to HTML. You are assigning a value to that particular variable, right? Element. That means you are assigning a value in the JavaScript, and that value will be displayed in HTML. I don't want to will send data from JavaScript to HTML. It will be like I want to send data from HTML to JavaScript. Then
Get
how can I?
element by id dot value.
Dot value will basically will give you the value, but dynamically if I want to send it, then it's not possible, right? It will give me the static value whichever is available. You have done this in JavaScript or jQuery or anywhere, anything that you use.
On key up, we can push
Correct.
whatever else.
Event.
Yeah,
On keep
event,
is nothing
event,
but event,
event. Yeah.
right? So by firing an event, we can call a JavaScript function, and then that function we can pass the value. Correct. When we let's say when we create a button, when we click on that button, we can pass value from your HTML to JavaScript by calling the function, right? And in that function, we can pass the variable or value. Right? So this way we can do like pass the data from HTML to JavaScript. Okay, and that is nothing but your event. Okay, through events you can do it. Okay, now how will you do this in here? Like if you in Angular, how will you do in Angular? Okay, so when we use property binding, we use square bracket symbol. Okay, but when we use what you can say event binding, we use round brackets. Okay, so we have this anchor tag, right, which basically is like add to cart function. Okay, so we haven't displayed it here, so I'll just uncomment this one and save it. So you will see add to cart button here. Okay, I'll just add a p tag here so that it will be displayed on a new line. Okay, so add to cart button is here. Okay, but if I want to let's say add number or whatever the product number into cart. Okay, when I click on this, then I should call this. Okay, I should fire an event. Okay, so generally in JavaScript we call event called as on click. Okay, we do on click event here like this, right, and equals to we call a function. Okay, but in Angular, whatever events are there, okay, in HTML or JavaScript, okay, we basically remove on and put your click event inside round bracket. Okay, for property binding we use square bracket, for event binding we use round bracket. Okay, and in property binding we generally pass property, and event binding we call a event. Okay, and event we just remove the on keyword or on word, we just remove it and just put the entire event in that inside a round bracket. Okay, as soon as you do this, it's like the next part, like the value of it will be a JavaScript expression. That means you can call a function. Okay, let's say I create a function here, mm, add to cart. Okay, so just forget about this what I'm writing here. I will tell you in a short what is this. Okay, I am writing a function and I will write console.log add to cart. Okay, so this is a function and I want to call this add to cart function here. Okay, so when I click on this add to cart button, so I'll just call add to cart. So you can simply pass a function here. So whenever I click on this add to cart button, let's say anchor tag, but it's a button itself now because of the styling. So when I click on this, it will basically call this function. Okay, let's see. Fresh add to cart. Okay, you can see add to cart here. Okay, add to cart, add to cart. So whichever button I am pressing or clicking, the function is getting called. Okay, that's how basically the event binding happens. Okay, so any event that you see, okay, whether it is click event, double click event, or your key press key, whatever event it is. Okay, when I basically want to capture that event, you can just write the event. Okay, remove the on word and put the entire event inside a round bracket and then call your function, and then you will be able to see the value here, or you will be able to call the function. Okay, understood how to do event binding?
Yes.
Okay, now sometimes what happens is like in when we call an event, okay, we want to pass a data, right? So we can pass a data here, we can actually pass an entire product object here, and then we can get that product object here. Okay, so I will know which product I have called, okay, or clicked. So you can just pass your product object here because we are inside this div block. Okay, and this inside this div block, this product object is accessible, but you will see an error here because add to cart product doesn't accept any parameter. So it's expected 0 arguments but got 1. So that means we have to come in here and put a variable product. Okay. Now we can get this variable and print it here. Okay. We will see fresh. Now what happens is like after I guess Angular 12 or 13 onwards, they have used strict typing. Okay, now here comes a typing part. Okay, TypeScript comes a TypeScript. So whenever you use any variable parameter, okay, you can specify for that parameter a type. Okay, so let's say we have a variable here. string. I want to create a str variable and I want to assign a value here hello. Okay. So when I create a variable str, okay, and if I assign a value directly here, so whatever the values type is will be assigned to that variable whenever I'm creating a variable, and if I'm initializing it with some value, that values type will be assigned to that variable. So now str type is string. Okay, so that means and this is where basically the str type becomes string, and if I try to assign str as number, it will throw me error. So if I do uh, this dot str equals to 10, okay, it will give me error. You can see the number type number is not assignable to type string. Okay, so this is what TypeScript is. Okay, and let's say you want to you don't want to assign a value right now. Okay, you will assign a value later on, but you will need a type for this. If you don't have write any type to that variable, that way type will become any means it can accept any type of value. Okay, and from Angular 12 onwards or 30 onwards, they basically made it as a strict typing. That means your variable or function, whatever you are writing it, they should have a specific type. It should not have any type. Okay, because writing an any type will basically trigger an error. Error means like dynamic, or you can say runtime errors, because at runtime you will not know what type of value I will receive, whether I will receive number, I will receive string, I don't know. If I want to perform string dot split, okay, or string dot two lowercase, okay, and I'm receiving value as a number, then two lowercase will throw me an error. Okay, I'm expecting string and I'm getting a number value, then in that case, two lowercase will throw an error, because two lowercase doesn't exist on a number, right? So that's the reason you should have a type to your variable, so that when you assign, when you call a two lowercase function, we know the value which is going to come is string only. Okay, and if you try to assign it a value as number, it will give me error in the compile time itself. Okay, you can see now it is giving me compile time error itself. In a compile time itself, it is giving me that you cannot assign number value to a string here. Okay, type number is not assignable to type string. But if you want to assign a string, it is possible. Okay, string can be assigned to a string. Okay, but yeah, just as I told you, if you don't want to assign it a value at the start, okay, so its type will become any. So in that case, you can assign it as a type using str colon and then type as a string. That's a string. Okay, now obviously property str has no initializer, because in the class, in a TypeScript class, there is a rule in Angular, okay, or a ts config rule. Okay, it's a default rule that you should assign a value to this. Okay, when you are declaring a variable, or you should at least assign the value in a constructor. So in the constructor, I am assigning this dot str equals to hello. Okay, now this will work. Okay, so you can assign value, string value, but you cannot be able to assign, let's say, boolean value as well. Okay, even if I do it in the start, this will not be accessible. Okay, so this is acceptable. So this is how the TypeScript works. Okay, so you should basically give a type to any variable using colon. Okay, so using colon, you can assign a type. Okay, and also we will see like customized types as well later on, but for now this is a product, right? And we want it like right now we don't have any type for this product. Okay, it is not a string, it is an actual an object. Okay, so we don't know what type of object it is, so we'll just specify any for now. Okay, explicitly you cannot like explicitly you cannot have any value, but like implicitly, sorry. But explicitly we can specify it as a any type. Okay, sorry, here I'm removing this one, and for this I will assign any type. We don't know type of product for now. Okay, so we'll say any for now. Okay, what is this? So we'll say any for now, Okay, and if I refresh this page and if I click on any button like add to cart, you will see the entire product object here. Okay, and this is iPhone 14. If I click on Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, this is Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. So I can get any object by use calling an event binding here. Okay, understood how to pass a parameter to the variable and basically the type of variable. And this is a type of variable, and this colon void is nothing but a return type. Okay, so function can have a return type. So whatever the function is going to return, you should write a return type for it. And if it is not returning anything, then you should write colon void. Okay, that means it is not returning anything. Okay, even if you don't write it, by default it will be considered as a void. Okay, but in general you should write a type for this function, or a return type for a function. Okay, that will basically be helpful. Why I'm saying so? Because let's say you have a sum function and you are declaring variable a colon, let's say, number, and b colon number. Okay, and here I know it is going to return number, right? So I'm just going to return a plus b. Okay, so now when let's say this function is declared in some other file or anywhere. Okay, and if I call this function this dot, let's say, sum. Okay, so in the documentation itself, you will see the a's type is number, b's type is number, and its return type is number. Okay, so when I will call sum, okay, and if I pass, you can see in the documentation, A's type is number, B's type is number, and it is returning number. If I say 10 comma 20, so I know this is going to return me number. So I can basically create a variable here. Uh, let's say addition equals to this dot sum, and addition will have a type as number. Okay, since its return type is number, so addition's type will become a number. Okay, so you should always return a type. Okay, that will obviously help you in the documentation, or whenever you are calling that function, you will see in the documentation someone, let's say someone else has written that function. Okay, and you want to call that function, you will in the documentation itself you will know that what this function will do and what type of data it is going to return. Okay, so it will be helpful for you. So just make sure whatever variable parameters you are typing, they should have a type, and it should have, the function should have a return type. Okay, even though it is void, you should write it. Understood? Yeah.
Yes. So basically using type as any,
Mhm.
we will lose the data type, what to say, type
Correct.
security,
Correct. By writing type as any, you will lose a type safety. Okay,
safety.
but yeah, we are going to add a type for this. For now we are just writing it as a any. Okay, I will tell you
So basically
in
when this code will get compiled to
hmm?
JavaScript, over there we don't have these things, right? Any and number and void and all that.
Yeah, when we compile this to JavaScript, we won't be having this, but basically
Type.
what TypeScript does is when we add a type to this, okay,
Hmm.
so TypeScript will basically add some conditions to it. Okay, so if let's say you are accepting only number, okay, so only number. See, basically this will not helpful for production. Okay,
Okay.
production, in the when you create a production build in it's a JavaScript, and JavaScript doesn't have a type. Okay, but this will help you when you when you are writing a code, and if you are making a mistake at the
So
uh,
basically it will just help us in our development
yes, in
environment.
development itself it will help you. It will
Okay.
basically in the runtime, if you are going to get an error, so you
Hmm.
will know it in a compile time itself. Okay,
Okay.
in the development itself you will know what type of error I am going to get, or if I'm assigning a some different value. Let's say I'm creating a variable username. Okay,
Hmm.
and I'm getting a value from input box or something else. Let's say number value I'm getting it. Okay, when I will assign that number value to username, and that number is, say, let's say, coming from a variable. Okay, let's say name
Okay.
variable has a number value and username has a string value. So if I
Hmm.
assign username name to a username variable, in JavaScript it will not throw an error.
Hmm.
Okay, But in TypeScript, when I'm assigning number value to a string value, it will give you error.
Okay.
Okay. So in the compile time itself, you will know that, yeah, this name is actually coming it as a number. Okay. And I'm assigning it to a string. So I should convert this number to a string, then I can assign it to username. Okay. So
Okay.
that further जो errors आने वाले that I can
Hmm.
avoid.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So it will basically help you to and like
Avoid silly
solve
mistakes.
bugs, yeah, avoid errors in like पहले ही आपको अवॉइड कर एरर्स अवॉइड करने में मदद हो जाएगा, हेल्प हो
Okay.
जाएगा.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, everyone understood like how to call a event binding or how the event binding happens. Great. Okay. um Write it down, then we are going to see some more into this. Once done, let me know. Just give me a minute. Okay. Okay, is it done? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I hope बाकी सब लोग का भी हुआ रहेगा. Then let's see, the next part is like see, sometimes we call a event and we pass a variable or value itself, but sometimes we also need event object. Okay. Like if you are performing some click for on a anchor tag and you want to prevent the default behavior, or you want to get the events object. Okay. For let's say you are dragging something. Okay. So what is the mouse position, xy coordinate? Okay. And sometimes if you are entering into some input box. Okay. So what is the value of that input box? Okay. So in that case you will need that event object. Okay. So how will you get that event object? So in Angular we have a special variable called as dollar event. Okay. You can pass the dollar event anywhere. Okay. You can pass it as a first parameter, second parameter, doesn't matter. Okay. So event is a special parameter, okay, or variable provided by Angular. You can use that event variable here. Let's say event. Okay. Let's say I'm calling it as a any for now. Okay. and we can print event object. Okay. So if you run this, you will see the click event object. Okay, so if I click on this, you see the pointer event. Okay, it's actually a mouse event. So pointer event, and here you will see the all the event related data. Okay, so is alt key pressed? No, false. So is it a button? No, false, zero. Then we have a meta key, whether you have clicked meta key, page x for offset x. Okay, so xy coordinates as well, like where I have clicked on it. Okay, so the xy coordinate 136.613. If I click here, the xy coordinate will be different. Okay, see, and the type of event, which is nothing but click. Okay, so this event you can capture it. Okay, if you want to capture any event, you can just use dollar event property, dollar event variable, which is actually provided by Angular, and you can pass that variable to your function, and you can get it here. Okay, understood, everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the like use case scenario for this capturing events?
um, just as I told you, like if I want to, let's say I'm on anchor tag, and by default the anchor tag's behavior is if I click on this, it will go to that link. Okay, and I don't want to go to that link, I just want to prevent its default behavior. I can get this dollar event object and prevent its default behavior by calling event.prevent default. Okay, or else if I'm, let's say, uh, I'm into an input box. Okay, so this is the input box, right? And whatever I'm typing it here, okay, I want to get the value of, okay, so you can use this event object, event dot value, event dot target basically give you the element, and from that you can get the value of that input. Okay, if you have a, let's say, if you are scrolling here and you want to get the scroll event object, okay, then this dollar event object you can pass it on, let's say you are calling a scroll event here, scroll. Okay, scroll is an event, and let's say I'm calling scrolling a function and dollar event object I'm passing it. And if you write this as a function here, let's say void, and for now we paste. Okay,
Dollar event on line number 70 in TypeScript.
Hello,
Hello.
I guess sir lost the connection.
see,
You are not audible, sir.
sorry, there was an internet problem, I dropped out. When did I drop out?
When you copied the event to the CS file.
Event file. Okay, so this one, like scrolling event. So let's say I want to scroll uh, on this entire, let's say this div. Okay, but this div should have a particular height, then only I will be able to scroll it. Okay, so the scroll event, when I scroll it and I want to get the scroll, how much I have scrolled. Okay, then that scrolling value you can get it through scroll event. Okay, so that's how you can, that's also one real life scenario where you can use a event. Okay, and what else we can say? um, yeah, if you are dragging something, okay, you can use drag drop. Okay, so where the box from where I have dragged it and where I'm putting it. Okay, so I should know the x and y coordinate. So if there is a particular box there only I can drop the element, then I should know the xy coordinate of the drop, and where I'm dragging it I should know the xy coordinate of this things as well. So there also you can use event. Even in canvas also, if you are drawing something, the xy coordinates will help you to draw. Okay, so like there are various the real life scenarios where you can use dollar event object. Okay, so don't worry, we are going to see this later on. Okay, when we come to other topics, that time we will use this dollar event object. Okay, so understood, like what is how to pass a event object to your function.
Yes, sir.
Okay, try this out. You can use it for like mouse in mouse enter mouse leave event as well. Okay, sometimes you want to capture whenever the mouse is coming here, you want to do something like mouse is coming inside a div, you want to do something, mouse is going outside of this div, you want to go do something. So mouse enter mouse leave, these are events as well. So these events also you can capture it, and in that case you can also capture the values of that event. Okay? um, Sometimes you want to, let's say you want to do control click. Okay, and based on control click you want to do something else. Okay, so how will you capture control click? You can just capture click. Okay, there is only click event. Okay, so if you just click it, you should do something else, and if you do control click, then you should do something else. Okay, so in that case you can capture this event. Okay, so if you want to check it out, you can check this add to cart. Okay, in this add to cart you can see the control key is pressed or not. Where is it? Alt key, you can key control key is false because I haven't pressed control key. Okay, but if I press control key and press or click on the button. Okay, oops, sorry, it's downloading. Actually I have pressed option key, I have a Mac. Okay, sorry. Click on this. Array, I kiss command key, sorry. Okay, I'm missing. Control key actually is giving me this one. Oh sorry, I don't know. It is by default basically my Mac is basically when I click on control and or let's say two keys, so it is giving me the this one. Let's say shift key. This shift key. Now you can see there's a shift key also here. See, shift key is true because I pressed on shift and then clicked on it. So shift key is true. So if I want to perform anything when I click on this using shift key, then you can use this event. Okay. And if I'm just clicking on it without shift key, you will see shift key as false. Okay. So there are like a lot of options here available which you can use it when you have an event. Okay. So is it done for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
Good. Now, okay, good. Okay, so let's do one thing since we have learned about event binding. Yesterday we were actually trying to toggle the theme. Okay, so let's complete that part. So we have this app component here and we have a class here. Okay, so it's BG primary class and BG purple class. So I'll add a button here. Let's say in this li, I'll add this class uh, button. Let's say toggle. Let's say class. Let's begin. Begin. Okay, so there is a button here. With some different type of button. Okay, light primary. Let's use this primary button. Primary. Okay. So there is a button. Okay, and if I click on this, the class should change. Okay, the proper the class which is bound to this nav should change. Okay, so the class which we have is like my classes variable. I'll come here and I'll create a toggle theme function which will not return anything. And in this, I want to toggle the PG primary and PG purple class. So here I will say this dot my classes equals to, okay, the same variable. You can use it here, same properties. And here I will say, okay, now how do you toggle it? Okay, toggle, if you want to toggle this class, okay, so if I just click on this, I'll say false here for now. Okay, false if you do true and false. And if I call this function toggle theme, okay, here click event and I'll say toggle theme. So if I do this, refresh your page, you see that if I click on this, the value like class is changed, right? Where is the now? Yeah, here you can see the BG purple class has been added here. BG purple class has been added. But if I again toggle this, you will see that BG like primary class is not appearing. Okay, that's because when I'm calling this function, I'm only changing BG primary to false and BG purple to true. I want to toggle this, right? Let's say if I have my class is BG purple, then when I click on this, it should change to BG primary. When the class is BG primary, if I click on this, then the class should become BG purple. How can I do it? Anyone?
We should fetch its current value and then do a reverse of it, like not of
Mm,
digit typing.
yeah, that also you can do it like you can fetch current class value, right? Which current class of this now, right? That you can do,
Yes.
but we already know what is the class assigned to that, right? By using this my classes. So we can use a simple variable here. Let's say current theme equals to, let's say it's a primary. Okay. And here we'll say if this dot current theme equals to primary. Okay. Then we will do this. Okay. Because currently the current theme is primary. Okay, true. That's the current, that's what set current theme as primary. But if it is not primary, then one more thing we need to do is this dot current theme is equals to purple. Okay, you have to copy this and paste it here. Okay, and in that case, you can write it as a primary and make it as true and then false. And now, if you refresh your page, you will see toggling. It has become BG purple. Toggle again, BG primary. Now you can toggle the theme. It's just changing the class. That's it. Like using one variable, you can do it. Understood. You can do it in a like a single line as well, but you'll have to add multiple conditions. Like you can use a ternary operator and also do that. But doing this will be a good choice. Understood? Okay. But one thing here, okay, one thing we need to note down here is nothing but we have to assign entire object here. Okay. What if I do like this dot my classes of bg primary equals to false? Okay, like I have a object here, and if I do like this dot current theme of bg, I think this will be this, you will know, right? Equals to ठीक है ना, equals to false. Element explicitly has an any type because index expression is not of type number. Therefore, why it is not taking, स्ट्रिक्ट टाइपिंग की वजह से बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. ठीक है. Element implicitly has an any type because of index expression not of type number. Okay, I cannot do dot like this, okay, because that is not possible. We have a hyphen here, okay, so this hyphen will not work. But let's say if you have a variable, okay, and that variable has a key, okay, and if I do something like I'll do one thing, I'll use a variable here, okay, object here. Here I will use, let's say, val dot, let's create a variable object here, obj equals to val colon 10, okay, and this dot val obj dot val equals to 20, okay. If I do this and if I use val, obj dot val, okay, and I'm changing val value to 20, so it's 10 here. If I toggle 20, okay, so here the value is changed, okay. But in some cases, like I can't now show you because uh, okay, forget it for now. Okay, I'll take a good example for this and then I will tell you. Okay, right now I'll not be able to tell this. Okay. But I will take a good example and then I will let you know. Okay, generally you should assign an entire object here, okay, because when you say this dot my classes dot bg primary equals false, okay, in that case the reference of this variable is changed but my classes is not changed, okay. So when the entire object is used here, the value will not be changed, okay. Let me do one thing, I'll do the same thing here and I'll check again. uh, Here instead of obj, instead of val, I'll use pipe. Or let's see. Let's check. It is changing. Okay, forget it. I'll take it different example later on. Okay, and then I'll. Okay, but for now, just remember that whenever you want to change the value, just assign a new object. Okay, then only it will take the values. Otherwise, the value inside it will not be updated. Okay, updated in the HTML. Okay, that happens some cases. Okay, so just remember whenever I'm changing the value, I should actually assign an entire variable or object. For now, I'll not be able to explain it because it will need a complex example for that, and I need to check what uh, data or what the value I can work with. Okay, but have you understood like how we can toggle the theme?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sir, I'm not able to toggle the nav bar
Navbar, this
in
one,
mobile app, mobile view.
mobile view.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, Mobile view like this. This one, right?
Yes, yes.
This you are not able to toggle because we haven't used JavaScript.
Okay.
See, this works when we have a bootstrap JavaScript
Got
because
it.
this is a click event, right? So you should use bootstrap JavaScript and you can include that here, like in angular.json.
Yeah.
Okay. In script. Okay. यहाँ पे in the script section you can add. Okay. Then it will work. Okay. Write it down and then we'll see next one. Actually, you can also do it on your own as well without including JavaScript. Okay, you just need to remove this expand LG, I guess. Class. Or I think I'll check with the navbar what classes are been added and what classes are removed. You can just check that and then you can add your own as well. Okay. So let's say this is the one inspect and this is the now we have an expand LG class here. Where is it? Okay, this is the class and this when I click on this here this is the button or this navbar double. Okay, this you can see the div class of this. So this is like navbar collapse and it is there is a class added show class. Okay,
Yes.
okay, the show class is added, you can see.
And on button, the collapsed is
On the
dynamically added
button,
and removed.
yes, the collapse is dynamically
And
added and
on area expanded, it is toggling between true and false.
yeah, that is basically so
It's
you
a lot
can
of, yeah, there's a lot of
you can
change.
lot of change or else
Yeah.
you can just use this show button as well that basically doesn't it is not doing anything on that button because the button is there is nothing happening on the button, so you can just use this collapse function. Okay, so if I want to just add it here, we have a collapse and I want to show a show function, right? I want to show a show class. Okay, so here we can use class binding. Class dot show equals to I need to use a variable, so you can use a variable here, show navbar equals, so it is like false, so you can use false here. Okay, show navbar. Okay. And when I click on this button, okay, this one here I will say click equals to toggle navbar. Okay. And I can use this toggle navbar function here called void, and this toggle navbar you can say this dot show navbar equals to not of this dot show navbar. Okay. So if show navbar is false,
Hmm.
true will be assigned. If it's true, false will be assigned. Okay.
Okay.
Check. See, it is toggled. There is no animation happening because there is one more class which is used for a particular period of time. Collapsing class you can see here. When I open this, there is a collapsing class which is added for some time and then it is removed.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
right?
Right.
Collapsing. Okay? And then the short element is added. Okay, so that's the reason you cannot see the animation here. If you add a collapsing here for some time, then it will show you. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
and this is like one of the like example or application you can check, like using a class binding. I'll keep this one. So once done, just let me know. Okay. Just adding some CSS classes, so I can put this toggle theme on the right hand side. Previously, if you see, we have a ME auto, margin end auto will be added. So I'm just removing that so that I can use a W100, which is like width 100%. So the entire width will be taken. And for this LI, I'll use MS auto, margin start auto. So auto margin will be added at the start. So it will be pushed.
Instead of doing all that, you
Mm.
can just keep your toggle button outside of UL.
Toggle button outside of here. Yeah, that also you can do. Yeah, that is also possible. This one.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
That also you can do. Okay, so is it done for everyone? Event binding. If it is done, then let's move on to the next one, that is two-way data binding. Okay. So here we have seen like how to move a data from your uh, type like HTML file to TypeScript file using events. Okay. Now sometimes in like Angular basically gives you one-way type of one more type of data binding, that is nothing but two-way data binding. Okay. Now how this two-way data binding happens basically. Okay. So two-way data binding most of the time happens with form elements. Okay. So when you have a form elements, for form elements, this two-way data binding will happen because two-way data binding is what, like on the same element, you want to change the value from HTML. If the value is changed from HTML, then the JavaScript variable should change, and the JavaScript variable is changed, then the HTML value should be updated. Okay, on the same variable or same element, we want to change it, and this can be possible if you have a um, form input element. Okay, because from form input element only we can input the value. Okay, so how does that can happen? Okay, so we have a row here. I'll add a filtering element here. Okay, so there is a search box at the top. So whatever, whenever I'm typing into that search box, okay, so whatever I will type it, my data will be filtered here. Okay, let's see that. So I'll add a row. Inside that there's a dot call. Okay, and here I'll add an input element. Okay, so I'll use a form input element, forms control. So this is the control input, input. Okay, id placeholder removed. Okay, and type is text. We have an input element here, and I need to add mb, let's say 3. So there will be spacing below. Okay, so here let's add a placeholder also, so we'll know what we want to do. Search. Okay, so there's a placeholder. So if I type in anything, okay, there should be a variable which will be changed. Okay, that means whatever the values entered here, it should be there in the variable. And if I change that variable from outside, then that value should be updated in the input box as well. Okay, so how can that be possible? So let's use a variable here. Filter by. Okay, let's say its initial value is blank, and I want to use this filter by variable here. Okay, for this input. Okay, so how can I do it? First of all, let's say I want to assign this input value to this input, like filter by value to this input box. How can I do it? See, this is a variable. Okay, let's say I'm entering iPhone here. Okay, I want iPhone to be displayed this in this input box. How can I do it? Anyone?
Collect the input from input box, and we can create a new array using filter,
Uh,
and then use that array.
no, I'm not asking about filtering. I don't want to go into that right now. I just want whatever is written here, like iPhone. I want this iPhone should be displayed in this input box.
In the
What?
placeholder, we can
Placeholder,
directly
yeah,
write in
dynamic.
the filter bar.
But that placeholder doesn't have a value. When I enter anything, the value is different, right? This placeholder is not a value. It's just a placeholder. It is used to display the like what you can do with that input box. But actual value is not a placeholder. Okay, we use value, right? Value equals to. So if I do phone here, okay, so this phone will be displayed here, right? So that's the actual value, the placeholder search. I want to add now. I've given you one hint. Okay, you have a filter by variable. I want to use this in this input box. What I need to do here? I
Wrap
know,
We need
that
to make it a
value in.
property, maybe.
correct, property binding, and use your variable filter by. Yeah, you got iPhone here. I'll refresh it. iPhone. Okay. This is property binding. The data is basically sent from your the JavaScript to your input box. Okay, that is mean HTML. If I will just use that a filter by here as well, so that it can be displayed below. Okay, so here now everyone got it, like how I can have assigned a value from your JavaScript to HTML. This is a property binding, pure property binding, correct? Because value is a property of input, and I can assign a value to that or variable to that property. Okay. Now the next thing comes. Next thing is nothing but I want to when I change anything. Okay, iPhone, let's say 14. You can see that I have changed the value inside input. but the filter by variable is not changed. I can see that because iPhone is still iPhone here. I have used filter by variable here, right? So when I enter anything inside this filter by variable should also be changed, but it is not changing. Why? Anyone? Why it is not changing?
because that
because it is
change
hard
is not
coded.
reflected in TypeScript.
Correct. Change is not reflected in TypeScript because the data is not sent from your TypeScript to uh, sorry, your HTML to TypeScript, right? When you say value equals filter by, we are assigning filter by variable to value. There is a one-way binding. JavaScript variable is assigned to HTML, but where is the event binding? That where the data is sent to your filter by variable from HTML to JavaScript. This is not happening here, right? When the data will be sent to your JavaScript file by using event, right? And we can use input event here. I will put it in two lines. You can use input event here. Okay, input event basically whenever you type in anything, okay, into the input box, the input event occurs. Okay, so you can see input event, and in this sorry, in this event input event, we can get the like sorry event object, and that event object, like event object will be nothing but a inputs event object. Okay, so I'll just call a function for now, then I'll see tell you. Like sorry, let's say on input, I'm just creating a function. On input is a function which will be declared here. Sorry, and here is a event, any log event. Okay, and let's see what is this event. Now I want to pass an event, I will use dollar event here. Okay, now let's see what happens if I do console log here. Okay, there is a console, and if I type in anything, you can see as soon as I hit space, the input event occurred, and in this there must be some value. Now value will not appear here. Actually value will appear inside a target property. Okay, so this event has a target property, so whichever the input element it is targeting to, so target will have a value property. I guess it will be at the end. Yeah, value, you can see iPhone space. Okay, now if I enter 1 4, okay, I have entered two letters, so it has occurred twice. You can see this this will also have 14, I guess, because it's a JavaScript, so you will see 14 here. Okay, because I have opening it later. uh, Here you see iPhone 14. Okay, so this value, okay, this value I can get it by using event.target.value. Okay, and using this event.target.value, I can assign that value to filter by variable so that it can be sent from your JavaScript to TypeScript. Okay, so we can do that here as well. Like you don't have to call a function. You can do filter by equals to dollar event dot target dot value. Okay, here you need to call a possibly null, so call a question mark or exclamation. Uh, you can use event.target as a the left side of this optional chain operation does not include null. Okay, let's do one thing. I will assign a string or a null. Okay, I will change the filter by variables type to, right now it is string. I will use string or null. Okay, now this is a new thing for you, so this should also work. Like event target. I don't know why it is giving me this. So let's do one thing. Target. Okay, if this is not working, I will call a function. Okay, that will be easier to do. But this thing is like I can assign filter by a string. Also, I can assign null value. Okay, this means this dot filter by. If I do this dot filter by equals to null, this is acceptable. Okay, but if you do 10, this is not acceptable because it has a type string or null. That means I can assign string or I can assign null. So both the values are acceptable. Okay. So in TypeScript, you can have two or more, one or more types to a particular variable. Okay. Here an input this dot filter by equals to event dot target dot value. Okay. Now it should work. Let's see. I'm typing space 1 4. You can see 1 2. See. Now it is changing. Right. This is actually a two-way data binding. Okay. Because here we are implementing both data, like both type of binding on a single element. Okay, so here we are implementing both binding on a single element, like property binding and input binding or event binding. Okay, but Angular, for this Angular provides you an easier way. Okay, uh, how? You can just to comment out this. Okay, I'll prepare one more. Okay, you can sorry, remove this, and for this you can use ng model attribute. Okay, now ng model is a special attribute. Okay, and it is provided by Angular only if you import forms module. Okay, there is a module called as forms module. Right now we will just import it. Okay, later on in the forms section we will learn more about forms. Okay, but for now we will require that forms module, so I'm including that forms module or importing that forms module here. So we just need to import forms module here. Okay, which is coming from your Angular forms. Okay, you is important because ng model basically works on that forms model. Okay, and then we'll come back to product list component, and here we will use ng model. Okay, ng model, and since it's a two-way data binding, okay, this ng model should be wrapped inside round brackets. Also, it will be wrapped inside square brackets. Okay, this because we are using both type of bindings, property and event. So it should be wrapped inside round brackets and a whole thing will be wrapped inside square bracket. Okay, and then we can simply assign the variable. Okay, once you do this, you don't even need this function. Okay, this on input function is not even needed now. Okay, because we were using it to call into an input event. Now your two-way data binding will happen. Let's go and check. See. Okay, so whatever I'm writing, it is displayed here. Okay, by using just a variable and ng model attribute. Okay, you don't need this value property binding. You don't need this input event binding. You don't need even this function as well to change the value of this filter by variable. Okay, just by using ng model directive or attribute, you can assign it a variable and the two-way data binding will happen. Understood? This is the two-way data binding. Okay, and this type of symbol is actually called as banana in the box. Okay, why banana in the box? Because when I remove anything, you can see this is like this looks like a banana and this is inside a box. Okay, so this type of symbol is also called as banana in the box. Okay, and this is nothing but a two-way data binding. Understood, everyone?
Yes, and for two-way data binding, we have to always use that ng what it
ng
is,
model.
module
ng
model.
model. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so
because
like
this.
if even though we have multiple inputs, we
Mhm.
can repeat that ng model part,
Yes,
right?
if you
Okay.
have a two input property input elements, then for both of them you'll have to use ng model and the variables will be different.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but if we are filtering on the live data, like from
Hmm.
backend,
Ah,
this will send too many calls to the backend, right? Like on every keystroke, it will send a
huh.
call to the
Yeah, if
backend.
you want to call an API call, okay, based on this, okay, then in that case you should use input. Okay, so whenever I get a
Okay.
value from dollar event, I can check whatever the value is coming. Okay, if
Mhm.
the value is greater than, let's say, three characters, then I will call the API and I will wait for the API call. Okay, even if the user is typing, let's say it has typed
So basically, it's a
for,
debouncing.
yeah, you can use debouncing, correct.
So in Angular, do we have any concept for debouncing, or it
You can
will?
use RX just for that purpose.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we will see when we come to the RxJS part. I will tell you the RxJS in detail. Okay, that
Mhm.
time if you want, I can tell you the search we can how we can do it using
Okay. Okay.
debug.
And there's something called as event throttling also, no?
Yeah, throttling and debouncing, these are like two different terms. Okay,
Hmm.
uh, I don't remember, but debouncing is like there is a actually like these two are different things. Okay, throttling and debouncing. Okay,
Okay.
I don't remember the exact difference between them, but just Google search it, you will understand what are these
Okay.
things.
Okay. Okay.
Generally we get confused with both of this. Okay, throttling and
Hmm.
debouncing.
Hmm. Okay.
So just Google search, you will understand.
Okay. Is it like set timeout and set interval? Somewhat similar.
uh, Not set time or set interval. It's like just you are delaying something.
Okay.
Okay, your set timeout, what it does is it will just uh, delay your call after some time, right?
Mm.
So if you are calling three functions, okay, at the same time, okay, and three of them are like using set timeout, okay,
Hmm.
in this case all three will be called
Right.
after a particular time.
Right.
But in debounce, if I'm calling some, like if I'm typing three characters,
Mm.
okay, and for three characters I want to call, I will not call for all of them. Okay, only one call will happen.
Okay.
Okay.
So like as soon as a user will take a break from typing,
Hmm.
the I mean application will monitor that, and after that it will send the data. I mean request to the backend.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So it will just wait for some time. So once
Hmm.
your input is completed, you can wait for 2 seconds, then only call it. Okay.
Hmm.
We are not calling it like a continuous typing. Once
Okay.
your typing will stop, then we will stop for, let's say, 1 or 2 seconds, and after that we will call it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Do it. Once done, let me know. Is it done, everyone?
Done.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes. Acha, it's remaining. We'll wait. Done? Rajesh, is it done? Whether what about
Not
others?
not exactly, sir.
Yes, Rajesh.
Not yet, sir. I'll
Okay,
need the TS files. So,
you need to write the TS file. It's just one thing. What about others? Because I can only see that Vatsal and Rajesh are speaking. So I don't know about others whether they are getting or not. You guys should also speak up if you have
Getting it,
anything.
sir.
Okay, good. But if you are not getting, just stop me and ask me to explain it again. Then
where is that, sir? NG model code.
NG model, it's here. And one more thing, you need to add forms module. Huh? Otherwise, it won't work in the imports area of forms app module. Then,
Yes, sir.
okay. Now, before doing a filtering, okay, uh, I want to show you the I guess the filtering part cannot be done today, so I'll move into the next lecture. Okay, but one thing I would like to show you here is nothing but let's TypeScript related thing. Okay, so yeah, the data type. Okay, right now we have a product object here, right? Product array of products. Okay, but when this array of products, okay, we have this array of products. Okay, sometimes like we there can be some human errors as well. Okay, when you write in some values, keys, anything. So what type of human errors can occur? Okay, let's say I forgot to add image for this. Okay, there is no image here, let's say. Okay, and if I go, you will see there is no image appearing. Okay, so I don't know, but you're not getting an error here. Okay, in the runtime, I'm seeing that there is no image here. Then I will check and go, and yeah, there is no image for this. Okay, I'm not getting error, so that's the reason I'm not able to understand it in the compile time itself. Okay, or writing a code itself. Okay, so this is one type of human error can occur. Okay, let's say another error, which is uh, let's say for this price. Okay, I have written true. Okay, price is number. Okay, and I am writing it as a true. Okay, so here you will see true. Okay, so we'll see what is this. Okay, this should be displayed as a price. This should be number. Okay, but I am seeing as a it is true. So there should be a mistake here. Okay, I am not getting error here. Okay, so that's one type of human error. Third error can be, let's say you have declared prices here. Okay, and when you display it here, you will not see price here. For all others, we are seeing price, but there is no price here because the variable is different, key is different. Okay, so this is again a human error can occur. So these are like three types of errors which I have shown you. There are like various other types of errors can also occur. Okay, why this is happening? Because we are not seeing any error at the time. Okay, and why we are not seeing? Because there is no data type for this. There is no data type for any of the variables. There is no data type for a product object. Okay, so how we can do this? How we can add a type to a particular object? Okay, and how it will prevent us from all of these errors. Okay, so to create a type, you can simply create class or interface. Okay, so let's say I'll create a class or a file here for now, product.ts. Okay, and inside this I'll create a interface. Why interface? Because I'm not going to assign any default value for them, so you can simply use interface. If you're going to assign a default value, then you can use class. Okay, so I'll use interface product, but I want to use this product interface outside of this class, so I need to export it. Okay, so remember this export keyword is important, and here I will define all of this variable. Okay, like this. Okay, and comma semicolon, here it will be semicolon, here also semicolon. Okay, so these are all the variables, and here we are not going to define a value. It will be a type. Okay, we know id is a number, so we'll write id number. Name is a string, so we'll write name as a string. Description is a string, so we'll write description as a string. Price is a number, so we'll write price as a number. Okay, image is a string, so we'll write image as a string. Okay, so I have defined a product interface. Now let's come here and assign that product interface this product object. Okay, now product is an interface, that means it's a custom data type. Okay, that we have created. Now we have to use this custom data type here. How can we use it? Again, if you want to assign a type to a variable, you can use colon and then specify a type. Now here we have seen that we can use a inbuilt data types, okay, string number, but here we are using user defined data type, that is nothing but your product interface. You can just type product here. Okay, it will automatically come in the suggestion because we have exported it. If you try this, then it will be imported. Okay, the product object, it is imported from your product interface. And now there is an error. Okay, because product is an object. Okay, product is an object. Now here we are seeing error because we are assigning an array of objects. Okay, so it's an array of product objects. So you should write array. Okay, so it's an array of product object. Okay, now here you will see when you hover over this, it's a on products, you will see product array. Okay, now let's try to add those errors and let's see what happens. If I remove this image tag, image key, you will immediately get an error here. Okay, because it says property image is missing in the type but required in type product. It is already telling you the error. So that means you know in the here itself you know okay, what is missing. You don't have to go to the browser and check. Okay, so that is one error is removed. I'm assigning price as true. Okay, it will give me error because price accepts only boolean number. So type boolean is not assignable to type number. The expected type comes from property prices, which is declared here is product. Okay, so price type is number. I'm assigning true value, boolean value. Another error is resolved. Let's say third error, which was the typos mistake. I have written prices instead of price. You will get error here because you will see is not assignable to type product. The object literal may only specify known properties, but prices does not exist in the type product. वो आपको सजेशन भी देगा. Did you mean to write price? Okay, so you have done a spelling mistake here. Okay, so the spelling mistake is also avoided. So you can see by just creating one interface or class object, okay, and assigning that interface or class as a type to a particular variable, you are avoiding these human errors. Okay, and this is how your TypeScript will prevent you from like, or basically not prevent you, basically will स्टार्टिंग में ही आपको बता देगा लाइक जो एरर्स आगे आने वाले. ओके, sorry, understood everyone how this type you can use it.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes it may
Sir,
happen that some variables or keys are optional. Okay, let's say this price is optional. Let's consider this price is optional. Even if I don't add it, you should not get any error. Okay, so you can make this price as optional by writing question mark here. Okay, if you write question mark, this price becomes optional. Okay, and if I don't include price, then also it will work. Okay, so you can make any key as optional by typing question mark. I'll write this property is optional. Actually, it means price is number or undefined. Okay, so undefined means optional. Okay, yeah. Anyone was asking question?
does it gives the does it gives the same implicit errors when we are changing the values on runtime or something like that?
Does it give you the same errors?
Yeah,
Uh,
like that
yeah,
price has to be a number or
yeah.
something
So
like
if
that.
I do true,
No,
so,
let's suppose we are expecting some input from a user
hmm,
and he clicks on the submit button. So
hmm.
does the same interface will give you the error, give that person an error?
See if the value which is coming, okay, it has a type. Okay, so in TypeScript, every variable, if you write a type to it, then you are sure that whatever we are assigning has a type. Okay, so value is coming from a user. Okay, and it has a type as string. Okay, and you are using price. Okay, price has a type number, and if you try to assign a string variable to a number variable, then obviously it is going to give you an error. Okay, and even in TypeScript, if you access any element, okay, and element, let's say div element, and from that element you are getting a value. Okay, that value will have a type. Okay, because TypeScript defines type for every DOM element. Okay, so when you come to TypeScript, every DOM element will have a type by default. Okay,
Okay.
so if even if you use document.get element by ID, okay, so if I do, let's say document, you can see document has a type document. Okay, you can hover over it. This is a type document. If I do document dot you will see automatically its elements, okay, or functions. Get element by id, and get element by id, you can see it returns html element or null, okay. And this, in this, you, when you specify the element id, you can only specify string value, okay. So I can specify string only. If I specify number here, uh since I specify the id value or boolean, I think it should give an error. I don't know why it is not giving me error. But here in the documentation itself, you can see that it has a type. Okay. So this error, or like these things are basically TypeScript. Basically, for all the DOM elements, it has types. Okay. So when you assign that variable to or value to a particular variable, it will show you error itself, where when you are assigning a type to that particular variable. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So what is the difference between interface and type?
Interface actually is a user defined type. Okay, the string is a inbuilt type.
No, no, not this. There is a thing called as type
Type
in
also,
TypeScript.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can use type, let's say,
type
yeah,
product or product one.
uh,
Yeah,
something like. So this will also define a type, but this is I haven't used this. I'll have to check the TypeScript type.
okay,
I haven't used this.
okay,
Maybe you can combine multiple types and create this type. So, but this happens with const as well. That doesn't matter. Oh. Actually, this type. Now I remember. This type is used to create a new type based on multiple types. Okay. Here, if you use const, so const cannot, like, it's a variable, right? So const variable cannot have a type. Okay. But if I specify type here, okay, then that element is a new type which is of type string or product. Okay. So if I use el here, then image will become of type el. Okay. And I can assign product or string to this image. Okay. So to
So
combine
when we are
multiple,
expecting either a number or a string from a user, we can do something like this.
yes, we can use them. Number or string, you can say or string. So this will be like a type string or number. So to
okay.
combine,
So basically, if this will create a new data type, right?
yes,
User. So why
yes,
can't we straight away use that instead of interface?
yeah.
Yes.
But type
Type
is
product equals to then
equals to like
object.
that. You can use this one as well. That's fine. This will be a new object. Interface or type, both will work. Okay. You can
Okay.
create interface, you can create variable or class, sorry, or type as well.
Hmm. Okay.
But okay.
Yeah, mostly interface is preferred, but I had this doubt. Like, since we have a type key- keyword in TypeScript, why
Mhm.
don't we use that, and why do we use interface?
I
Like,
don't
what
know
is the
like
what
in
is the
detail,
speciality?
like I don't know in detail why can't we use, but that's a good question. I will also research on that part. Like why can't we use type?
Okay.
Yeah. And it's time now, so we'll stop here. Okay, in the next lecture we will see like how do we do a filtering, okay, based on this.
So can you please show the app.component.html? I am actually My toggle is not working. I mean, if
Okay,
everyone is leaving the class,
sure, sure. Toggle is not working.
that's an HTML language.
HTML you want to see? Okay. Toggle theme. Okay. Here the toggle theme function is called. What issue are you facing?
The color is not changing for the navbar, so I might have not added this toggle
This my
navbar.
classes, have you added it? NG class?
No.
Okay. Because this is what is adding a class, right? We will stop here, okay? So I'm going to stop the recording.